What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Phil and Leroy the Judgmental Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Phil back in here.
And this is Leroy. So, what's going on, Phil?
Nothing much. Just getting ready for this damn Eagles game and the bullshit.
So, we got the Eagles for the second straight week is playing at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, this time against the New York Jets. The Eagles are a 5-point favorite. The over and under is 44. Well, a big key injury is Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts is out for the game. Gardner Minshew is your starting quarterback. So how you feel about that, Phil?
This bullshit. And just like we talked about before, when I said I think the Eagles be losing on purpose for a better draft pick, because all week they said he was healthy. He was going to play. He was starting. Jalen Hurts came out and said he feel good. And then the last minute you turn around and say he not playing. So it's like we got 3 first-round picks, but it's like we're trying to make those picks even better in the first round. There's no way if he's healthy and he can play, and he said he can play, and just yesterday they said he was starting. Why today it turned around he not playing? Ain't nothing
Right.
wrong with him.
Well, it's really much to talk about this game. The New York Giants defensively, as statistically
Jets.
of New York Jets, I'm sorry, is statistically bad in every Russian defense category you can name. They're either next to last or in the middle of the pack. So expect the Eagles to run the football. That's the only thing I can say about that.
Well, running the football been our strong suit, and we get our ass kicked every time the coach decides to not go to it. So now watch Minshew come out and throw about 40 times. What you think?
No, I think they're gonna run the football.
How many times? How many times you think Minshew's going to throw it?
uh, let's say I'm gonna say 23.
I say between 35 and 40
Goodness gracious, why?
because that's what the coach is. Whenever we play a team that can't run, he want to pass,
Mhm.
and they like the for some odd reason whenever they get see they look at Minshew as a pocket passer, and they look at Hurts as a running quarterback. So whenever they get a pocket passer, they want to force the issue with the passes. That's what they tried to make Hurts do early in the season when he was throwing the ball 30 times a game and stuff like that. They was trying to make him a pocket passer when that's not his strong suit. So
Mhm.
now he got this. So now he can open up his playbook to all these passes that he think Minshew can do. But shit, Minshew record is like 1-8 in his last 9 starts. So what
Right.
makes you think he is a good quarterback?
Well, what's your final score?
Final score 17-24 Eagles.
All right, I have 20-7 Eagles. So before we get out of here, our favorite Eagles reporter, Jimmy Kimsky, has he has an article, five college prospects who could have interest in the Eagles could have interest in the 2022 draft. I don't know if you'll know these people or not, but I'm gonna say the player name and position, and you tell me yes or no. All right, five college players that the Eagles could have interest in. We got Jameson Williams, wide receiver from Alabama. Why the hell would they need another wide receiver for?
No,
Right. We got Trevon Walker, defensive lineman for Georgia.
no,
We got Marcus Jones, cornerback, punt returner, Houston. He's 5'8",
yeah,
185 pounds. A 5'8"
yes,
cornerback.
yes. He'll gain weight, get muscles.
Okay. We got Desmond Riddler, quarterback, Cincinnati. Why would they draft another quarterback?
No, exactly.
And last but not least, Tyler Lindenbaum, center from Iowa.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess they looking for Kelsey's successor.
hmm So really, the only guarantee yes would be that center. The hell with the other picks. And I say yes to that cornerback only because he's fast and we can use a kick returner. We haven't had a good returner since damn Deshaun Jackson. When you see these guys right now, Rieger is supposed to do that. But as soon as he get the ball, he do the dumbest shit and run to it out of bounds like he's trying to stop the clock. That's not what you do during the game. You do that like in the last quarter when you're trying to stop the clock. So we have no return game. So I say yes to that. 5'8" is short for a corner, and these receivers are getting bigger and bigger. So he's not going to be able to really cover. He might be able to start in the slot at 5'8", but then you can kind of help out. You know what I mean?
Right. So again, he's the Marcus Jones is what Philip's talking about, cornerback from Houston. He has 46 tackles, 5 interceptions, 12 pass breakups, and he's returned 4 kick punt returns for touchdowns. And he also is a wide receiver too. He has 10 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So so he's having a good college season. But is this a first round draft pick?
Well, we got 3 picks. I would say I wouldn't see. I'm looking at him, like I said, as a maybe a 3rd or 4th receiver, and as a starter at kick returning. And you don't use a first round pick for like a fucking starter kick returner. You know what I mean? You for a first round pick, you need him to do more. And I wouldn't have him in the game at receiver, and he's not starting at corner. So yeah, no. If I could get him late in the first round, maybe. But if I got high first round picks, and when I say high, I mean top 15. No, I would not use that pick on him.
Okay. So well, before we go again, what was your review of this episode of Power?
Well, I got to go and watch it again because you interrupted it. So
that was like
thank
at
you.
the end of that was like the end of the show.
Well, when you told me, because when you told me to switch, I still had a half an hour to go. So then I had to go to my car and get my headset to hook it up on my phone because I don't have the Twitter hooked up to my computer, and I had everything set up on the computer ahead of time. So the show just kept playing. So then I found out the boy pulled out his card, and the cop started acting crazy. The dead cop card. So I have to go back and see it. I didn't see that part. There's like a little parts here and there that I missed, so I have to go back and see it. But I already see dumb shit going on. So
well, how did
we can talk about it on. We can have a episode like tomorrow or during the week, and then we can just talk about some more shit.
Well, real quick, can I say something real quick? How'd you like the Amazon drug locker?
I thought that was all it. But what's stupid is, like, do it only work for a new barcode every time?
Yeah, like the Amazon locker at the drugstores.
Right,
Like
because
that, yeah.
because it's gonna be a lot. Yeah, that's cool. But the problem is, there's gonna be a lot of people on campus that's gonna know drugs and money is in that locker.
Right.
Now, who's to say they don't go tampering with it? You don't know because you ain't got no security and nobody watching and no cameras.
Right. Now, first it was supposed to be a secret hideout that the girl found, but they all of a sudden everybody gonna be going up there.
Yep. And all that. And if it was real, a school would be like, well, what the hell's going up here on the roof? Why everybody keep going up on the roof?
Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling that this new guy is I think I said it before on here, but I think he's a cop.
The cop, he got way too many connections, and he want to know about everything and just all in a mix of stuff. To me, the writers is on some bullshit because they're making this storyline that he was her love interest for all these years and stuff. Right. So if that was the case, how did she get with the other guy that's in jail? Because she's supposed to have been with him for a long time.
Exactly.
And how do they not know each other? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This guy supposedly was running the streets at the same time, but you don't know him, but you know her, and playing what was the song he's playing?
Was it Bobby Brown?
Was it that type?
Yeah, you're right.
New Edition or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what Puerto Rican dude plays New Edition right down the block?
Was it Can You Stand the Rain?
Hey, babe, was it Can You Stand the Rain? What song was it? She said, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, like you said, there ain't no Puerto Rican gonna be playing unless he was around a whole bunch of black people or something like that. But like how he wanted to know Tariq's name and all that stuff like that. Come on now, like. And then how about when he was following them? He followed them to the little drug
to drop the meeting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's like a cop or something. The guy just appears out of nowhere. And like you said, he got all these contacts.
He wouldn't be a cop. He would probably be like an FBI or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
all right. It's definitely something near. But if her husband was big time and he know the streets. Wouldn't word get back that this guy's in town and that she's hanging out with him?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, all right, we'll be back at halftime. Again, we do a pregame, a halftime, and postgame show. Postgame, we should have someone from the other team with us, but I don't know if we're gonna have any Jets coming on or talking to us. Because if you're a Jets fan, what the hell you have to talk about? That team is horrible.
Now you said the Jets is playing. The Eagles are playing at the same stadium. I thought the Jets played out of Jersey. I mean, the Jets played out of New York, and the Giants played out of Jersey. So now they play out of the same stadium in Jersey.
Yes, MetLife Stadium.
When did that happen?
I guess since when they made MetLife Stadium, I don't know.
Because it always been like the real New York fans said the Jets was their team. You know what I mean? And the Jets played out of New York, where the Giants, the real New York fans really didn't care about the Giants because the Giants played out of Jersey.
Yeah, well, you know,
But of course when they start winning championship, then New York fans, oh yeah, we the Giants. Yeah, okay.
right.
Bandwagon hopping ass.
It's like like if you from a certain part of town, you supposed to be a Giants fan, and if you from the other side of town, you supposed to be a Jets fan. I don't know how that works. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you could jump just both sides of the fence.
Right.
All right, y'all, we'll be back.
All right.
Eagles!
All right, we at halftime. The Eagles are winning 28-18. Here's some quick stats. We have Gardner Minshew, 14 for 15, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's our new starting quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. Rushing, we have Miles Sanders, 10 carries for 43 yards. Gainwell, 3 carries for 22 with a touchdown. Receiving, we have Goddard, 5 receptions for 98 yards. Gainwell, 5 for 32. Watkins, 2 for 22. And Devontae is 1 for 13. They need to get a ball to Devontae more. On the Jets side, we have what you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
We have Zach Wilson, 12 for 14, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rushing, Coleman, 4 carries for 45 yards. Receiving, Moore, 4 receptions for 44 yards. Crowder, 2 for 28. This defense is horrible. I mean,
It
like,
is.
why two
It
things?
is.
Why you can't have good offense and good defense? Why the offense is playing good, but the defense is playing like shit? And this is the
Mm.
Jets.
The thing is, we play down to shitty teams, and I don't understand that. Like, and with Gardner Minshew, his just like we talked to before, it seemed like every week they want to focus on one target. So
Yes.
this week is Goddard. So now Goddard getting all the targets, and that 14 for 15 for Minshew is like a illusion type stat. He's not really playing that good, but most of his passes is to the tight end and to Gainwell. You know what I mean? Little dump passes. Because
Yep.
his passes, he did throw one good strike to Goddard that was clearly wide open, but the rest of them was like pretty much dump passes that Gainwell or Goddard took a nice little yard joint.
Yep. So you have Goddard and Gainwell both have 5 reception in each. So
Mhm.
so
So
like you
that's
said,
so that's 11. I think that's 11 or 12 of his targets between just them two guys as far as attempts go.
yes.
And you gotta be able to throw to your receivers. What's the name is our top pick? He needs some attempts to him. You know what I mean? He only threw it his way one time and he caught it. Devontae, you got to throw him the ball.
Yep. Well, it looked like the game is about to start, so we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll have some Jets fan to join us at the post game show. We be back.
All right.
All right, we back at the end of the game. The Eagles won. Thank goodness. Thank goodness the Eagles won because it was almost touchy at the first half. The Eagles won 33-18. Some quick stats. Our new quarterback of the future, Gardner Minshew, 20 for 25,
Oh no, he ain't.
242 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rushing, thank goodness, Miles Sanders, 24 carries for 120 yards. Gainwell, 12 carries for 54. Receiving, we have Goddard, 6 receptions for 105 yards, and Watkins, 3 receptions for 60 yards. Gainwell, 5 receptions, 33 yards. So he didn't have a pass, get a reception in the second half. On the Jets side, we have Zach Wilson, 23 for 38, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rushing, we have Coleman, 11 carries for 58 yards. Receiving, we have Moore, 6 receptions for 77 yards. He actually looked good today, too. And Crowder, 4 receptions for 62 yards. Now, let's ask our guest first. Well, first of all, we have a guest here. We have Gary Snyder. Is that how you pronounce your last name, sir?
Yep, that is. Thanks for having me, guys.
We have Gary Snyder, New York Jets fan. Well, here's the number one question I want to ask you. How's a person that's from Marlton, New Jersey, a fan of the New York Jets?
Well, I grew up in North Jersey, and when I came down here close to 30 years ago now, I gave up my fandom. Not gave up, but switched my allegiances to the Phillies just because baseball's a night after night thing. So I was able to watch all the Phillies games back in the 90s when I came down here. And the Jets, it's appointment viewing. It's only 16 games, or now 17 per year. So I kept my allegiance to the Jets from 1977. And couldn't give that up. And, up until about 4 years ago, I would make the 90-mile trip up the Turnpike every day, 8 games a year. But gave that up about 8 years ago because I didn't want to give them any more money on a regular basis. Because the Todd Bowles era just did it in for me. That was the end of us going to the games with regularity. It hasn't been good for the last, outside of maybe 3 or 4 seasons in the last 30 or 40. It's tough to be a Jet fan.
Yep.
He's like a unicorn, because the only time we see Jets fans is on TV in the crowd. We never actually seen an actual Jet fan. You know what I mean?
We're here. I was in the Wegmans this morning, and there was a few of us in there wearing our green and white proudly, but few and far between, especially down here. And you got to just keep on supporting them in good times and bad.
Now, the second question. Phil and I was talking about when cities have 2 teams. Now, you have the Jets and the Giants. Now, what makes you choose the Jets other than the Giants?
It was the first, for me, it was the first game I ever attended as a football fan back in 1977. It was actually, funny story, my first Jet game was at Shea Stadium. It happened to be Joe Namath's last game as a Jet against the New England Patriots in 1977. He threw 4 interceptions, but for some reason I was hooked. And since then, we've had a couple of good years in the 80s, a couple of good years when Rex was here in the 90s, and a couple of early good years with Herm and Mangini. And they just can't seem to find a quarterback or, get it right. And one day they will. The joke in my house is, I have a 19-year-old son who at this point is probably more into it than I am. We spend he's in college, and we spend pretty much all games texting back and forth, and he gets as angry now as I did back in the day. So, I guess I did something right in that case, or wrong by bringing up a Jet fan.
So he's always angry. Right.
He doesn't let it bother him, but we have our back and forth, and by dinner time on Sundays usually we're over it. Mm-hmm. And we're looking forward to next week, and come Monday morning it's, hey, I think I have a chance this week.
Dale, we always ask our guests, what did you think of today's game?
As a Jet fan, the positives are Zach Wilson looked like he belongs in the NFL for the first time this year. That first half, Zach looked like he belongs in the NFL. And as a Jet fan, those are the things you look for. You mentioned Elijah Moore earlier. I think NFL fans around the country, as we move forward, are going to get to know the Zach Wilson to Elijah Moore connection pretty well because he's special. And as a Jet fan, those are the things you take out of it. On the negative side, you go, where's the defense? I mean, that's a joke what's been going on in defense in this team all year long. It's so frustrating how they can't cover anyone. They can't get – you look at the numbers, and I guarantee you if you looked at the numbers throughout the league, you won't find a team that's worse than getting off the field on third down than the Jets are. It's unbelievable how these teams, no matter who it is, whether it's the Eagles or it's the Colts on that Thursday night, or even a bad team, on a 3rd and 7, they're finding a guy open for 14 yards and converting and keeping drives alive, and the Jets just can't get off the field. And that's more than anything what's killing us. That and the fact that they don't produce turnovers. They don't get any sacks. Quinnen Williams is a very, very nice player, and they did a nice job plucking his brother off waivers from Jacksonville. But, if you don't have anyone to cover on the back end, you're dead, and we just don't. And you saw that in the first half today. I mean, those passes that Goddard caught in the first half, where were the closest defenders on him?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's the frustrating part. But the good news is you saw the fact that Zach Wilson took a step forward today. And I'm sure that a whole lot of your listeners, today was probably the first time they ever seen Zach Wilson step on a football field.
Right.
If he does what he did today, gets some, the coaching catches up to him, the defense catches up to him, and they put a few more players around him, then we'll be okay. We did play without our best running back today, Michael Carter, who's an early round draft pick. I think they took him in the 3rd or 4th round last year, and the kid looks like he's a player. He's hurt now, but he'll help. He'll be a nice little player on this team.
Right. Philip, what's your thoughts of today's game?
First off, I think I didn't see nothing that shows me Zach Wilson is going to be a starter in the NFL. He played good.
When you compare it to what he's done in the previous
yeah. He played solid in the first half, but then in the second half, he just missed too many open guys. But for the Jets, a lot of that got to do with the coaching and their front office, because they've been bad for a long time. They get a lot of draft picks, and they always pick the wrong guy. You thought we picked the wrong guy. They worse than us when it comes to drafting the right players. So the same way we look at these guys on our team, we were like, we could have had this guy. I'm pretty sure the Jets does do that every year with the guys that they pick and the guys that they pass up on. But that running back that they had today, what was his name?
That's Tevin Coleman from the
Tevin
49ers.
Coleman. He was running good, but y'all just didn't give him no carries. I couldn't understand that. He only had 11 carries. And we couldn't stop him. So if they would have gave him more carries, who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of these West Coast offenses. Right. It's that Kyle Shanahan offense, which is the quick hits, the screen passes. I'm sure he might have had as many receiving yards as he did rushing yards today. And it's these quick outs and get the ball in his hands. But you make a good point. That's Zach's biggest problem so far this year. He can't make the easy passes.
Right. I seen a lot of easy passes. The pass was just off, but it was off just enough that the receiver either just too high for him or just out of his reach where he couldn't get it. If he made those passes, that would have been a game changer.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's one of the biggest things that he's struggled with this year. In the game they won against Tennessee back in week 4 or whatever, they had 3 chances on their goal line to put that game away. And Zach missed 2 easy 2-yard touchdown passes to a tight end. One of these flips, and he threw it over his head, and he might have bounced one. But that's the kind of stuff that, hopefully by playing this year, it goes away next year.
Okay,
Right.
now is that a nervous thing or a mechanics thing?
I don't think it's I think it's nervous and coaching. I think I think they have the right coaches here, but I think he's still learning the system. And I think it's more of the folks around him. Like the tight ends that we're using, they're trash. They have no business even being in the
I was
NFL.
going to say that because I saw a stat. They said neither tight end had a catch on the season. The starter, the one that y'all was starting today was like a practice tight end, and then whoever
Yep.
the starter was, he doesn't have a catch. So I was like,
Right.
well, damn, you know what I mean? If y'all
Like,
was that bad, if y'all was
they
that
brought
bad
in
at tight end, why didn't y'all go after Zach Ertz?
Well, that's true, but Ertz probably, Ertz is a little. We're still rebuilding, so Ertz went to the perfect place for him where he could step in and help them win a Super Bowl now. And I believe he's a free agent after this year, so he doesn't help a bad team. They did pick up a guy in the offseason from Cincinnati, Croft, who has since gotten hurt. So he's out for the year. So we're playing with what's on the roster at this point, or what you can get off the waiver wire. And at this point in the NFL season, it's not a whole lot.
Like
So
Denzel Mims, he was a beast, and it seemed like y'all just can't get him the ball. He got the size and the strength, you know what I mean, and y'all just can't get him on the ball. I don't understand that.
The Mims story is one that goes back to training camp where he had some problems even in the off-season workouts and the OTAs, and everything I read and heard and followed, he didn't get off on the right step with this new coaching staff. So he was in the doghouse. They ended up keeping Jamison Crowder because if they cut him, it was too big of a hit on the cap. And Mims, is basically playing now because now there's another guy out with COVID. Keelan Cole was out today. And Mims is like on the bottom of the chart. You saw even Braxton Berrios. I don't know if he had any receptions today, but he had the big kickoff return to start the game. I think he's probably even ahead of Mims on the depth chart of wide receivers.
And that's crazy because when the draft rolled around, and I was like, if we can't get Devontae Smith, I would have took the linebacker that the Dallas Cowboys took from Penn State. I would have took him. And then I was hoping that we could get Mims with our next pick. But man, the way it turned out, I'm glad we didn't get him.
Well, Mims was here last year. So
he was here last year?
Yeah, so he wasn't drafted by Joe Douglas. Mims was here when this regime got here.
Oh, I thought
for some reason, that was Moore who they got in the second round.
Okay.
You mentioned Micah Parsons, and I tell my friends and anyone who will listen to me on Twitter, if there's a Micah Parsons in this next draft in April, that's who the Jets need on defense. I mean, that's what a lot of teams need on defense, but that's who the Jets need on defense. Whoever his clone is in this upcoming draft, and I don't watch a whole lot of college football. I just kind of know what we need and let the guys making the decisions kind of hope that they're in lockstep with what I'm thinking going, well, our enough with the offensive linemen. Our offensive line should be pretty good, especially once Beck comes back. Let's now start addressing the defense. And the other thing is, you made a joke earlier, Gardner Minshew, the quarterback of the future for the Eagles. And I don't know what you guys think about Jalen Hurts, but I don't want to hear that the Jets spent all week preparing for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that was stupid. They mentioned that on the air.
Play defense,
Exactly. I
play
agree.
defense. But one thing that you got, I would assume they're going to go back to Hurts, but for a team that's given up, 54 and 45 twice and 33 today, let's not put a whole lot of stock in Gardner Minshew against this defense.
I mean, all his passes was short underneath, mostly to the tight end and the running back.
Yeah, and then how much? And then they had yards to run.
Yep.
I mean, they could have run laps out there before they were. I mean, our defensive backs are terrible. Everyone knows it. Marcus May got hurt, so that hurt us. But even when he was in there, he didn't really do a whole lot for us. He'll be gone next year anyway. And, I think I have some confidence in Joe Douglas that this guy's going to get it right. He came from he was the big name coming out from Philly, and listen. The other thing us Jet fans are doing this year, especially now that going into this week, they had the same record we did. We're rooting for Seattle losses. That's all we're doing. And that was one of the great trades you'll ever see in the history of the NFL. To get two first round picks for a safety in Jamal Adams. And they got a player, and I think they got a third as well back 2 years ago. You're not going to see too many heists like that in the league.
Yeah, it is. That was a good trade for you guys.
Now we'll have two top, let's call it 7 picks right now. I don't see the Seahawks getting well anytime soon.
Now, see, we always say, Phil and I always say that when it comes to the Eagles, when they game plan, the coaching tells the quarterback to focus on is either 2 players. Every week, the 2 players will change. See, this week it was Goddard and Gainwell. Those are the ones who got the most receptions. And the quarterback never spreads the ball around. Now, Jalen Hurts didn't do it. Now, Gardner Minshew didn't do it. That's not a coincidence. So I think that on coaching, they'll tell them to focus on a certain player.
It's almost like the organization is, let's see what this player can do. So this week we're going to focus on throwing the ball to these 2 guys. The next week we're going to throw it to these 2 guys. You know what I mean? So they just keep doing it that way instead of just running a basic offense and spreading it to whoever's open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the question is, in a season where there's not a whole lot of high expectations, maybe that's a good thing, especially one where you have 3 first-round picks coming up and you can see what you need. Is Hurts going to be the answer? Do you trade for Russell Wilson,
you can't
or somebody like that?
No, you can't see what you need if you're not running a basic offense to give people opportunities.
That's true.
This week they was focusing on Goddard. Goddard got his most attempts and most yards all year. But then our top pick, Devontae, only got 2 targets all game?
No, it was more than 2.
3?
Because no,
I know he didn't get 5. I know he didn't get at least 5, and that's crazy for your top pick.
No, well, remember it was 2 passes. I know it was 2 passes that they threw to him that was batted down.
All right, hold on.
So,
I can pull it up right here. Let's see.
I remember he caught the one.
He got 4 targets today, and Rieger got 1. Yeah, that's kind of terrible. You know what I mean? For your number 1 receiver to only get, it's just not good.
And the two people that had the most targets is what I talked about, Goddard and Gainwell.
Right. And then last week it was Rieger and the other dude. Rieger never got that many targets in the game. And then last week he was the number 1 option. And I just don't understand that.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think with the history Smith brings into the NFL, or teams double teaming them or whatever.
No, not when the offense is not making you're the top priority in the passing game. So
right.
I'm not buying that double coverage in him when you can look and see that the quarterback's first option this week was to throw it to Goddard.
Right.
Right. And hey, it worked.
Yeah, because we was playing the Jets. That shit won't work anybody else.
No.
Well, that's probably true.
Well, it didn't work last week against the Giants.
Well, last week against the Giants, it was Rieger was our number 1 target.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on one.
He dropped two touchdown passes at the end of that game.
Well, usually that means that you don't have enough players, like you don't have enough skill position players. If they're trying somebody out new every week, okay, Smith's the keeper.
Right.
It sounds to me like they don't really like a whole.
See, I don't think that's the case. I think they're disguising us losing on purpose so we can get better position in the draft. So if you do this, because I think we get 3 first-round picks this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, 3.
Right. So they're trying to better their position because we got good solid players like Goddard, Sanders, Smith. We got some good players on our team, but they don't always get the ball every game. And every game you should plan on those 3 guys getting the ball.
Well, if that happens, isn't that a coaching problem?
Yes.
It is, but I was telling Roy, I was listening to the radio last week, and they were saying that the GM was talking to the coach about getting Rieger involved. And after I watched that episode on the radio, the next day was the Eagles game, and all of the passes went to Rieger. So it was like it was true. So it's over the coach's head. This coach being a new head coach, he do kind of got to listen to the GM, and he's always giving praise to the GM and who the GM has, like as far as backup offensive linemen and stuff. So you know, I mean, he pretty much is buttering up to the GM, I guess, because he's the new head coach.
Yeah, listen, he's got the only option he has is to put the guys in there that the GM that Howie's given him. So he's got to do the best with what he has, and I would assume that Sirianni, as being a new head coach, doesn't have a whole lot of say in the guys coming in here, unlike some of his predecessors.
Because all week they were telling us that Jalen Hurts is fine. Even Jalen Hurts made a statement saying that he'll be starting, and then game time he's not playing, just like that. That was weird to me.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't listen to a whole lot of local talk radio anymore or any of that stuff, but do the fans think this is a playoff team?
We can get that last playoff spot.
Yeah.
We can. I mean, not saying like we can go all the way, but if you can make the playoffs, that's what you strive for. Once you're in there, anything can happen. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt.
Like if we'd have won last week against the Giants, and we probably could have won if we wouldn't have been focusing so much on Rieger, who's never proved anything. But if we'd have beat the Giants and then would have won today, we'd have been right there at the last playoff spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, listen, in the course of the 17, there's always going to be those probably 3 or 4 games you look back on going, if only.
Yep. So next week, the Jets play the New Orleans Saints. Is that home or away?
That's at the Meadowlands. It's a home game. And, I think it's a winnable game. I thought this was a winnable game coming in. I don't think next week the Jets are going to have kicking tryouts at halftime and bring a guy down from the stands to possibly be the kicker in the second half of the game. But they basically played without a kicker today, which is ridiculous.
That is, in this day and age, you can't get a kicker to just make an extra point. Shit, I think I can make an extra point.
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that us lifelong Jet fans go, yeah, it's typical Jets bullshit. Like, of course he missed 2. They missed field goals. Of course, they switched kickers yesterday. Of course the kicker comes in and misses 2 extra points. So now who's going to be next week? But after what you saw from the Saints this week, yeah, sure, they're beatable. I mean, Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian. I lived through Trevor Siemian.
I don't know who they fooling with this Taysom Hill stuff, giving him all these big contracts and saying what he can do. This guy was never a good quarter.
Well, the Thursday game, that was Thursday when they played the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
You see how many passes did he throw? Like 50, 51, 52? Was it in the 40s or 50s?
High, I believe it was high to mid 40s, but he had 4 interceptions.
Right. Now, he should never be throwing the ball that much.
Right. He's another version of Tim Tebow. Like, you can't have that guy throwing the ball that much. He's a gimmick guy.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, who's he? With that, when Kamara doesn't play for them, you talk about a team that has no skill position players. I mean, who are you afraid of on that team if Kamara is not there? Now, right. Kamara will probably come back next week and do something like he did on Christmas last year and score 7 touchdowns against us because, again, that's the way shit goes against the Jets. And we're tuned to think that way.
Hey, I know how you feel because we were in the same boat with the same thinking process. The dumbest shit used to always happen to the Eagles. I mean, we caught luck in the bottom and won the championship, but besides that, it was always a receiver or a running back having their career day against us. A guy that does nothing all year, but when they play the Eagles, they fucking breaking records. It's unbelievable.
I can point to so many games that the Jets faced a backup quarterback, and it was one year they went down to Houston. They were on their 3rd string quarterback. I don't know if it was the kid that played for Rutgers or one of these kids, TJ Yap or TJ Yates. He beat us one year, and the list goes on, and it gives me agita just to think about. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to deal with it a lot better. So it all goes back to my 19-year-old son kind of living the life that I lived back then.
So, Phil, fortunately, next week the Eagles has a bye week.
Which is way too late for a bye
Yeah,
in the
it is.
NFL.
exactly.
You know what? It's ridiculous that they're having buys 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
crazy.
Yep. So the 19th, they're playing Washington. What is your thoughts on that game?
Washington, they got a good defense, but they're beatable. I mean, their quarterback doesn't impress me. He's been around for a little while now. You know, if you put pressure on him, you can beat him. Simple as that. And that's pretty much with all quarterbacks. But he didn't show me anything. They don't have really a good, strong running game. They just rely heavy on you fucking up. They're playing defense and them getting sacks, getting interceptions, you know what I mean, shit like that, forcing fumbles. As long as you don't turn the ball over with them and you play a solid game, you can beat them.
Okay.
They also like to play keep away. I mean, when you saw them on Monday night against Seattle that a couple of weeks ago, Seattle hardly ever had the ball. So they have these long, drawn-out drives, like almost like the Eagles had today to start the third quarter. But
Yep. And that was a good thing, too.
That's
absolutely.
That's what you do to teams, wear them out like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are your, like, I love, to hear, like, what are the expectations of Sirianni in your mind and the Eagles moving forward, whether it's this year or are you waiting for those 3 number 1 picks next year, or do you want Russell Wilson or a guy like that? That's what I want to know from the Eagle fans.
Go ahead, Phil.
I don't want Russell Wilson. I would rather give Jalen Hurts another year. I don't have a lot of confidence in Sirianni because we'll play a team that can't stop the run and then he'll throw the ball 30 times. He think he's the smartest guy in the room. He always goes for it on fourth down. It could be 4th and 3, 4th and 4. He don't care. He goes for it. And I think they said we got the second worst 4th down conversion percentage in NFL. So if that's true, why is he always going for it on 4th down? I just never understood that guy.
And the GM.
The GM, see, everybody knock Howie Roseman and they want to get rid of him, but they don't give him credit because he put the team together that won the Super Bowl. Even though he blew a lot of draft picks, he did make a lot of good draft picks too. You know what I mean? That helped us win that Super Bowl. Carson Wentz, we traded a lot of shit to get Carson Wentz. Wasn't a big fan of his, but he did go win us 11 games and get us the home field advantage before he got hurt to win the Super Bowl.
You're not winning the Super Bowl if Carson Wentz doesn't play that year.
Exactly. I understand that. And that's why I said, even though Howie always fucking up draft picks, he did get a Super Bowl. He did put that team together with the free agent pickup. We picked up the defensive end long. We picked up the running back. So we had like key guys that he picked up that helped us win that Super Bowl.
Well, I disagree with you. You can't keep saying the Super Bowl. Oh, he brought us to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he did, but next year will be 2022. So I think I don't trust the GM, especially what we just were talking about, how about the only 2 targets, focus on 2 guys a game. And if you said
that's why I said they're trying to get a high draft pick, and that's why they're doing that. They're doing it on a sneaky tactic for us to lose, but make it seem like we're not trying to lose.
Okay, so you trust Howie Roseman with these high first-round draft picks?
We got to wait and see. I mean, he did get
but you seen what he picked already.
Yeah, he picked us Devontae Smith. He's a stud.
That was a no-brainer. He won a Heisman.
We also got the what's the name? The free agent we picked up.
You also got JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Slay. We also got Slay.
You also got JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Didn't he draft our defensive tackle and the defensive end?
You also got Rieger, but Rieger's like okay. But you also drafted Rieger.
Right. No, I'm not saying he don't miss and fuck up. He does. But there's a lot of stuff that he do that he doesn't get credit for either, though. That's what I'm saying. So right now, he's on the fence. He got 3 picks coming up. I will see what he do with those picks. If he fucked this up, then he need to get out the door.
No, man. I think he needs to go now. I think they need to find another GM now. Well, after the season, not, right now, after the season. But he already had his chances with picks, and this is his first good. He had a good draft pick pick next year, and then Landon. You gave Landon shit because he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He been hurt, but he actually been playing well.
and that's a Howie's guy, ain't he?
Yeah, but that was also a no-brainer too, because he would have been a high first-round draft
Yeah,
pick if he didn't get hurt.
You say it's a no-brainer, but a lot of these teams fuck up on no-brainers. And you saw that with Rieger and with Ortega-Whiteside. It was guys out there that was no-brainer, but he thought he was smarter. Instead of taking the guy from Seattle, who we could have had, he took JJ Ortega-Whiteside. What's the guy from Seattle, the receiver?
DK
We'll
Metcalf. No,
Metcalf.
Could have Metcalf.
And of course they say, Jefferson over,
Jefferson over Rieger, exactly. Like, and those guys was rated higher on the draft boards, and he still chose who he chose. So I don't want to hear this no-brainer stuff. If we get us a no-brainer, you still got to give your GM props for that, for getting that guy and not fucking it up.
Mm-hmm.
So the luster is off the Super Bowl win is what I'm getting out of.
Yes.
Yes. I know. I agree with that. I agree with that too.
Yes.
Well, I've always said, you know what? I would definitely trade in the next 2 or 3 seasons for a Super Bowl. I haven't been there yet, it seems like you guys are ready. You guys have lived that. And the years after the Super Bowl were still pretty decent. I don't know off the top of my head. I think you went back to the playoffs at least once after that. And now it's time. What have you done for me lately business?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, Mr. Snyder, what's your social media?
I'm at Gary S1012 on Twitter, and that's the best place to interact with me. I love interacting with fans of any team during the games, and Gary S1012.
Okay, and
Thanks.
we'll trade your green. You already got green and white. Now let's trade that with some Eagles. You living in Marlton, so
you know what? Have me on during the baseball season. I'll put my Bryce Harper jersey on, and we'll all be good.
Don't say that because Phil don't like Bryce Harper. So he don't think he should have won MVP.
Guys had better numbers than him.
Yeah,
and we missed the playoffs.
Okay, but
every one of those 3 finalists missed the playoffs. Also.
Right, and plus he was one of 4 players that had a record.
So if all 3 of them missed the playoffs and those guys had better numbers than him, then he should have won MVP. And we missed the playoffs because he disappeared down the stretch. And
no. You know what? That is.
Huh?
There's no way that's
he got
look
one
at his
hit.
numbers in the second half of the season. That's just not true.
I'm not talking about the second half of the season. I'm talking about down the stretch where we were fighting for that last playoff spot. We had a series against Atlanta. The whole series, he got one hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
after the Atlanta series, we had one more series where he had one good game and nothing in the other 3 games.
So that
was a 7-game stretch where we need to win these last couple games.
You gotta look at the big picture.
You taking 7 games. So you saying in those 7 games he shouldn't win MVP?
No. I said he shouldn't win MVP because people had better numbers than him.
No, because he was one of 4 players that broke a record. Well, he didn't break a record, but he was one of 4 players that had that record. That's so you comparing guys who, they had better stats, but what did they do?
So when you have a shortstop, which is the hardest position out there, harder than his position, and that shortstop has a better batting average and more home runs than him, I think the shortstop should have won MVP.
But he didn't. What did he do? Was he one of 4 players that have a certain type of record?
I don't care about that. His numbers was better than Harper's, and they both
take Harper off this team. They're nowhere near the number of wins that they had. Nowhere close. This Phillies team has 4 good players on it. 4 good players. That's
I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm saying other players had better years than him, and he disappeared when we needed him most, and he shouldn't have been MVP.
Oh, I disagree. I think.
No, I do too. I agree with you, Gary.
I don't think you can put it. Listen, I don't think you look at the guy didn't miss a game after the All-Star break. And look at the numbers, and not that it matters, and this has nothing to do with the MVP, but just the way the baseball numbers are going, his contract's going to be a bargain by the time this is all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of other guys that Phillies could have got to me besides him.
He wanted the what's the guy that plays for the Angels that's from here?
Oh, Rendon.
No.
You
Mike Trout?
Mike Trout.
We
Mike
can't
Trout.
get him.
That's
I
who
would have
he
loved to have him. But we
Trout
can't
wasn't
get him.
really available. You know, Trout
That's what I
wasn't
mean.
really available.
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, he's not available. We couldn't get him. I wish we would have had him instead, but he wasn't available.
I think Bryce Harper is going to go down as one of the best people to put on a uniform in the city.
No.
When it's all said and done.
No.
That's
When
a
it's
bit of
all
a
said and
stretch.
done, 3 more years?
Yeah,
No way.
How many more years do you think he got in him?
He's not even 30 yet. At least 7.
Oh, you crazy. He's not going to be here for 7 years.
No, that's a bit of a stretch there. That's a bit of a stretch. I don't
Especially
think
if the DH comes and at the end of his career, he's a DH.
It's not going to happen.
Well, keep my email on file. Let's have this conversation in the spring.
So you're saying if he becomes the DH, but for a DH, you need to be having home run power like that. And to have the home run power, you need to hit more than 30 homers. He got shortstops getting more homers than him. He's not one of the top home run hitting guys.
I think you really have a personal vendetta against Bryce Harper.
I don't. The thing is, I was watching and following the Phillies down the stretch to try to get that last spot. And when we shut the bid against Atlanta, I looked at him because he's our leader, and he had 1 hit in that series. How you MVP and you choke like that?
I think that's looking at such a small piece of a bigger problem, and
we gotta go because we down to less than a minute.
I really appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Yeah,
and seriously, if you guys do other Philly sports, let's continue this baseball conversation. In the springtime.
Definitely.
All right, you can reach us on Facebook and Twitter at P&L Judgmentals. Instagram at _judgmentals, or you can email us at pnljudgmentals@gmail.com. I appreciate you, Gary. Sorry, you see the numbers going up top here. I'm counting down.
Thanks for having me on. I love it. And anytime you want to talk sports, you hit me up. I'll love to join you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.